Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am coming at you today with naked nails because I am actually doing something new for this channel, and that is trying out press-on nails. So this is a box from Vettsy, and about a year ago, I think, or within the last year, Vettsy started doing their own press-on nails. So if you don't want to go through the trouble of doing your own nails, buying the gels and the extension gels and the top coats and base coats and all that stuff, doing your own nails, Vettsy now offers pre-made press-on nails that you can buy and just have them all done for you already. So I have been curious to try out their press-ons for a while, especially because they have a bit of an interesting system when it comes to sizing the nails and everything like that. So I was curious to try it, and I figured now would be the time. I bought a mystery box of 6 sets, so you can actually go onto the website, and the website that they have for their press-on nails is not the same one as their regular Vettsy store. So they actually have a separate website, but they provide a whole bunch of options, and they had so many options on their website with so many different styles, and I just didn't have it in me to make decisions. I just had a little bit of decision fatigue, so I decided to go with a mystery box. So they have a mystery box that you can get certain, like, different amounts of press-ons. I think there's like 2, 4, 6, 8, and 12, if I remember correctly, and I went for 6 sets, just so that I have a lot of variety. I wanted to see what kind of mix we'd get with shapes, lengths, styles, all of that stuff. So I'm super excited to get into it. I haven't done press-ons in a long time, so I'm really curious to see how this works. So like I said, I ordered 6 sets, and what I've noticed is that they don't come with a prep set. So that's just something to be aware of. Oftentimes, if you're buying like a set of press-ons from someplace like Kiss or one of those like very popular pre-made press-on brands, they'll come with a prep set. So maybe a little bit of an alcohol wipe, a small file, maybe a little bit of nail glue to stick on the nails. I noticed that with the Vettsy box, they didn't provide those options. Now, I don't know if that's because I bought a mystery box and they just tossed in a whole bunch of, just tossed in 6 random boxes into my order. And if you ordered specific sets from their website, if you'd get that prep set, I'm not sure because I haven't done that. So I don't know, but it's just something to be aware of, that if you do buy these, make sure that you have an adhesive available that you can use to stick on your nails, whether it's like those little sticky tabs if you just want them to be super temporary, or your own nail glue to stick on the press-ons, because they haven't provided it, at least in the mystery box. So that's just something to note. But they come in these really beautiful boxes, and you pull out the string and it pulls out the box with it. So it's super exciting. It's really pretty, and I want to open each of them up. And then I was also thinking, to make things a little bit interesting, I'll choose my favorite one out of all of these, and then I was thinking I would take you around my life a little bit, get a little inside view of my life. It's pretty boring, I'll be honest. I don't really do much. I work, I do household things. I do work from home full time, so most of my day is at home. But I figured it'd be fun to see how these nails hold up with, doing household things, folding laundry, washing dishes, all of that kind of stuff, and just see how these hold up and what they're like. I also figured in this video I would figured that in this video I would test out the Vettsy peel off base coat. So like I said, they didn't provide any adhesive for your nails for the press-ons, so you kind of have to have your own thing, I'm assuming. At least for me, I have to have my own adhesive, and I thought I had nail glue, but turns out I probably got rid of my nail glue a while ago, and I stopped doing press-ons and Gel X, and I started doing my nails custom with hard gel. So I got rid of my nail glue a long time ago. But I had this peel off base coat that I got a while ago from Vettsy because I had been planning on doing more press-on nail stuff, and I never got a chance to try it. So I figured this is the perfect opportunity. It's the Vettsy peel off base coat, testing it out with the Vettsy press-on nails. I figured it would be a perfect testing option. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. And basically what I'm going to be putting the nails through is just how they last, whether the nails chip while doing, regular household things, what their quality is like, if they snap, if they break. And then also we'll be testing out the peel off base coat and how well it lasts for, a week, 2 weeks. I'm going to have to see how long it lasts, but I'm hoping that I can get this peel off base coat to last at least a week and a half. So we'll have to see how that goes. But enough rambling. I feel like I've given a ton of information. Oh, one last thing. Sorry, before we get into it. I do have a code, an affiliated code with Vettsy, and that is Watermelon Lemonade if you want to shop on their site. But like I said, they have a separate website for their press-on nails, and my code does not work there. So that's just a disclaimer over there. So I don't know if anyone does have a code for that. Check the internet. I'm sure someone has a code somewhere. But if you wanted to shop their regular website to get, for example, the peel off base coat, nail glue, those sticky adhesive tabs, you can use my code Watermelon Lemonade for 20% off. And that is an affiliated code. So if you shop with that, thank you so much. And now let's just get in, because I've been waiting so long to finally do this. You have been waiting so long for this whole intro of the video, but I just wanted to do all the household stuff. What's it? Housekeeping? Is that what they say? Let's just get right into it. Come on. So like I said, I did a mystery box, so I don't know what's in these. So it's going to be a surprise for all of us. You pull out the string. Ooh, okay. Immediately, this is super cute. So as you can see here, they have marked extra small, small, medium, and large. So when you order from their site, they have a measuring system where essentially you measure the width of your nails from, wall to wall, and you do all of them. And then you find which size fits best for all of your nails. So I decided to kind of focus mostly on my thumbs, because my thumbs are quite large in comparison to the rest of my nails, I think. I mean, most thumbs are, but I feel like they're just, I don't know. Anyway, I did the measurements, and I think I'm a size small. So I ordered this whole mystery box set in a size small. Definitely make sure that you do your measurements before purchasing, because they don't come with any extra nails. So it's not like you're buying something from, Walmart, from that Kiss brand or any of those other press-on brands, and they give you a whole bunch of options. They're only giving you 10. So I would suggest that if you're in between sizes, or if you're unsure, go with a size up so that at least you can file the nail down from the cuticle to make it fit your nail, because we definitely want to have our press-ons fitting nicely. When press-ons don't fit properly, they look very fake, so we want them to look as good as possible. So I'm definitely going to, try out whichever set I choose, and we'll see how the measuring goes. So when I did the measuring, it seemed like the size small would be the best fit. Most of my nails fit into that category, so I'm hoping that these work well. So we'll have to try that out. But that is just something to be aware of. You're only getting 10 nails. You don't have any extra, sizes laying around. So make sure you do your measuring and pick out the right set. But this is beautiful. It has that really popular cat eye heart shape, and it's got these really cute gems and white hearts. This is perfect for Valentine's Day. Maybe I'll save this set for that time. It seems like that's so far away now, but I mean, the year has been flying. I can't believe we're already in June. It's pretty nuts. But this is a gorgeous set. So I can't wait to try them on and see what their sizing is like. But so far, just from a design perspective, these are gorgeous. Here we have the next one. Let's pull out the string and see. Ooh, these are pretty. So far we have super trendy, super popular nails, which of course is definitely Vetsy's style. They definitely like being on trend, oftentimes the trendsetters themselves. So if you're looking for trendy press-on nails, Vettsy might be the place to go. Of course, we'll have to see how they hold up, see how they work, see how their sizing is. But these look really, really pretty. It's hard to, I'm going to open them up just because I feel like the plastic is giving a bit of a glare. Yeah, let's just take these out for a sec. Look how pretty they are. There's glitter, there's a cat eye effect, that super pretty velvet effect. It's beautiful coloring. I think this is super pretty. And again, size small. I got a size small and everything. And I'm curious to see if their sizing is consistent. So far, we have the same nails, like these almond medium nails, or maybe these are long. I don't know how their length works, because so far, I didn't pick them out, so I don't know what they're considering medium, what they're considering long, short, etc. But these look like they're about the same length, so I'm curious to see if I get multiple lengths and shapes in this box, if the sizing is consistent between different shapes and lengths. That's something that would be super interesting to see, just to make sure that you're getting the same sizing throughout. I would assume as much, just because they have one sizing chart for everything, but when it comes to these factory made press-ons, sometimes it's hard to get everything perfect. and they don't always fit nails perfectly as well, which is why I ended up giving up press-on nails a while ago, because I would have a hard time with fitting them to my nails. So I'm curious to see if with this sizing method, I'd get a better result. But these are really, really pretty. Let's hop over to the next box right over here. Oh, looks like the string got a little stuck over there, but that's okay. These boxers are gorgeous. Ooh, hello. I wonder if I'm gonna get all of the same length and shape nails. That would be super funny because it is a mystery box, so I have no idea what's coming, but look how pretty these are. So it's this really gorgeous nude base. And then it looks like they've got like a iridescent cat eye effect. So they have this like little gorgeous magnetic effect when you turn it in the light in these beautiful different colors, pinks, greens, blues, and yellows. This is really, really pretty. I love the subtleness to it because it's got that really pretty nude base with a little bit of shimmer. Then when you just twist your hands so perfectly in the light, you just get a really gorgeous effect. So this is really, really stunning. It's hard for me to decide which one's my favorite. I think they're all really, really pretty. I feel like you can't go wrong as long as you pick something out that you like, or if you choose to do a mystery box like me. They're just all so pretty that I feel like, you know, you're always going to get something good with it. Moving on to the next one. Oh, it looks like we have shorter ones here. Okay, good. So I'm happy that we have a little bit of variety just to do some testing out. So here are some short square nails. Again, we've got that size small. And I'll be honest, square is not my favorite shape, but if I'm doing a square, it's a short square. I think I'm okay with the short square. It's long squares. I know that's super popular and people love their long squares, but for some reason, I don't love that look, especially on me. I feel like it just makes my fingers look really wide. And I already have pretty wide fingers as it is, so I don't need to be adding to that. But short squares, I can do. And this is really cute. This is a pretty simple set. There's nothing too complicated about it. Looks like it's just these really pretty shimmery cat eyes in a couple different colors. We've got the pink, blue, and green. It's definitely a pretty set, nothing too complicated, nothing that, you know, if you do your own nails at home, you can't achieve by yourself, but maybe you just want an easy press-on situation. You don't want to have your nails on for too long. Maybe you just need them for like one specific event. Or maybe you just don't want to do your own nails and a press-on is easier, especially because if you use these and remove them properly, you can reuse these multiple times before they get too damaged. And I know there are some people who can re-wear their nails like so many times because they just have a good way of removing them, removing the glue. It's all about the removal process, and if you can be careful with it and maintain the nails, you can definitely wear them multiple times. So if that's something that you're into, I feel like so far they have really, really pretty options, and I am really liking these. And I'm happy that we have a shorter set. I'm curious to see how the sizing works between the different shapes I mentioned. The question is whether or not I'll do 2 different shapes on each nail, or if I'll just kind of do like a quick, easy demo, but not actually leave them on. I'm not really sure yet. We'll have to see, but first I want to finish going through the rest of the nails. Oh, okay. So this is a pretty simple set. It's just this really pretty green cat eye, but it's a different length from the other ones. So I wonder if this is what they would call like medium length, because it is square, but in comparison to these are a little bit longer than these. So I wonder if they'd consider this short and this medium. I'm not really sure. I'd probably have to go into their website and just kind of see the sizing shapes separately, like side by side. But this is really pretty. Again, nothing too complicated. It isn't a completely extravagant nail set, just a basic green cat eye, but a really pretty one at that. And the shape is interesting. And the cat eye is so nice. They look like tiny little gems. So they're super, super beautiful. And now we just have one more to check out. So let's do that. Here's the last one, and then I'll decide which one I want to wear. Oh, this is pretty. And if you know me, and if you've been on my channel recently and you know how much I love color, I think you can tell that this is definitely speaking to my heart. So let's take these out so we can see it without the plastic. Oh yeah, we've got some gorgeous rainbow cat eye, neon teal tie-dye situation going on, and it is stunning. So I'm super curious if it's like the same size as this. It looks like they are. And basically from what I've seen here, it looks like we got two different lengths. 3 different lengths, I'm sorry. This seems to be like a medium or long length. Again, I don't know how Vettsy is categorizing their lengths, and when it comes to different shapes, sometimes the lengths are different as well. Looks like this might be medium though, or would this also be medium? It's hard to tell exactly. Now, I feel like these are a little bit longer, but that's also because when it comes to like an almond or a stiletto shape, you kind of need a little bit of extra length to get to that tapered point. Otherwise, they look a little bit stubby and kind of weird. You need that length of the nail. So I don't know if they'd consider this a long almond or medium almond, because a medium square is likely to be a little bit shorter than a medium almond. I'm not exactly sure, like I keep saying. This is just a mystery box that I picked up. I didn't know what to expect, but it looks like we have 3 different sizes, I would say. We've got short, medium, and long. That's my opinion. I would call these, well, maybe these are medium too. Again, I keep going back and forth. I'm not exactly sure how their length is, but we'll give it a go. Now the question is, which ones do I want to put on and test out for the remainder of this video? I mean, I love these, but I think I'm going to save these for Valentine's Day. So I don't think I'm going to have this in the running. So I think I'm going to decide between these 5. Oh, they're all so pretty. And again, it's like they have that gorgeous, like, subtle effect on all of these. They pretty much all have that cat eye effect. So that's super fun, especially for me because I have not had super success with the cat eye. I'm getting better at it as I use it more, and I've kind of figured out how to tweak it a little bit to get how I like it. But I'm not great at doing cat eye, so it's fun to have a whole bunch of press-ons that do have that effect, because as of yet, I have not been able to achieve that look on myself the way I like it, the way I've seen it on others. Ooh, but it's so hard to decide which ones to use. I think, honestly, guys, I mean, like I said, as soon as I opened this one and, like, you know, they saved the best for last, which honestly, like, I just did that randomly. I didn't do that on purpose. Clearly, I just picked out the boxes at random. But if you know me, I think you know that I kind of really want to go for the bright, colorful ones. These are really pretty, but they're kind of basic. These are really pretty, but they're also kind of basic. And although these two are also stunning, they're just a little bit more subtle, and I tend to like something a little bit more dramatic with my nails. And because this is bright and summery and fun, and we are heading into June and bright summer, and also this happens to be the length that I like and the shape that I like, because although these are pretty, I don't love a short square nail, like I said. Not my favorite. I prefer a medium almond. Recently, that's been my go-to. So the fact that this has the shape and length that I like and the bright colors that you know I love, I think we're going to have to go with this. And I feel like that's not a surprise to anyone. I mean, as soon as I saw them, I kind of knew, but, you know, just to give everyone else a fair shot, I pretended like this was a decision that had to be made. But really, there was no decision. It was always going to be these. So now I want to see what the sizing is like. Because like I said, you pick out the size based on the measurements that you do, and then you kind of only have these 10 options. You don't have any extras to kind of fiddle around with. So if a nail doesn't fit, you'd have to either wear a small nail, or hopefully if you got a size larger, you can file it down a little bit. So I think I'm going to start with the thumb. This is for the right thumb, and I just want to see how it sits. Okay, so the first thing I'm noticing, just placing it against my nail like this, is that it's a super, super curved tip. And if you have really flat nails, these might be hard to stick to. You might have to build up a little bit of a base layer, or build up just a little bit with builder gel or a rubber base coat or something like that to give a little bit of height. Because I don't have particularly flat nails. I have like a bit of a natural arch. And again, please excuse the fact, I didn't mention this before, but please excuse the fact that my nails look a little bit ratchet. I had to remove all of the gel polish for my previous set, which I did a video on. And right now I just have like a little bit of nail hardener on my nails. So they don't look their best because I kind of just did a bit of an aggressive job taking them off so that I can do this this video. So don't look too closely at that. That's not the point. The point is my nails aren't particularly flat, but in comparison to other press-ons that I've tried, or even just using like a clear tip like this, I am noticing that they are quite curved. Now this is a size too large for me. In this nail tip over here, it's a little bit big, but this fits much more flush against my nail, despite it being pretty curved because the end over here is quite flat. This is a nail tip from Hona. And again, this is a bit of a size too big. So it's looking a bit funny, but it fits better. These are quite curved. So that's the first thing that I'm noticing. I might have to build up a little bit of a base, which is not what I was expecting. But I mean, I didn't know what to expect at all. So it's kind of impossible to know. But I'm curious to see if we went for like a medium size. It looks like a size small for my nails is like just the tiniest bit. Actually, if I push it down to the cuticle, it's hard to tell because this is so small. I don't really have a great way to hold it. It looks like it's the tiniest bit too small for my nails. So I think that in the future, if I were to order more, I would maybe go a size up with a medium and then file it down. But I don't feel like with this one I had that. Yeah, actually, it's like a bit of the side wall hanging out over there. But these are also really, really curved. This one as well was quite curved. And let's see with these little baby one over here. Yeah, you can see right there that it actually has a lot more gapping than the other ones, which is interesting. Again, sorry if my giant thumb is in the way. Just these are so small, I can't really hold it. So this is pretty interesting. It's like, I think the sizing between the nails are pretty consistent for the most part. Let's try this one over here. So if I'd place this down here, like that, against my nail, there's like the tiniest hint of gapping. So I'd be like concerned about that, just from like, once the nail starts growing out, getting a bit of gapping and stuff. But they're very, very curved nails. So if you have very flat nails, like I didn't even stick this on with anything. It's just, I just pressed it straight down onto my nail. And because there's like a bit of a curve to it, it's a little bit tight. So as soon as I like flattened it out, it kind of is like sticking for a little bit. Obviously this is not put on properly or anything like that. I'll have to do something, but really pretty. I like the length and I like the shape. The question is if the curvature of it is going to be a problem for me, or if I have to build up a bit of a short nail. The thing is, I feel like going with a size medium might be too large, and then I'd have to do a lot of filing to get it to fit. Doesn't look like that one's going to do the same thing that this one did. This one seems to fit nicely, though. This one seems to fit okay. This one has nice coverage on the sides. Let's check this one out. This one actually looks like it might even be a little bit too large. So this one I can do a little bit of filing too. See, that's like the only downside to ordering something like this is if you're in between sizes. Now the question is, would I go up a size and then have certain things be too large and then certain ones fit? Because for example, the thumb is like the tiniest bit too small. But when I use this one for my ring finger, that one actually looks a little bit big. You can see compared to my nail, it's a little bit wider at the base than my actual nail is, so it's quite large. So if I went up a size and did a size medium, this nail would be way too big and I'd have to do a ton of filing and potentially ruin the design to get it to fit. So you're kind of taking a bit of a gamble when you're ordering something like this that only has 10 sizes and you can't actually customize each nail. If you could customize each nail, that would be pretty cool. But again, with something like that, it would have to be extremely personal and very much like one-on-one with a client. And I feel like that's not the kind of thing that Vettsy would do. That's just a little bit too much work. If you were working with a private nail tech or someone who did press-ons for a living, you can probably, get each individual nail sized. But when you're ordering a mass-produced like item like this, even my pinky's like a little bit large. I can probably get it to fit. But the curvature of the nail, the fact that they're so curved, and the fact that they're a little bit big, on certain nails is kind of making me a little bit concerned. But then also, the thumb is a little bit small, like just the tiniest hint. So we're gonna have to see how that goes. I think I'm going to use like a bit of a rubber base to build up my nail a little bit and then then I'm not really sure if a rubber base would be the best option to stick these on or if I would do a peel off base coat on top of that. I'm not really sure. I'm going to have to look into, maybe do a quick little research and see how that goes. But if you have very, very flat nails, I think you would have some difficulty with this. And if you're really unsure about sizing, I would say order one set at a time, because I did a mystery box and I did 6, and for the most part, like, they fit. They're a little bit big on certain ones. See, like, that's really curved. I don't think that's going to fit my nail properly at all. Okay, so I'm definitely going to have to figure out the best way to adhere these. I didn't think I would have such a big issue because I don't really have super flat nails, but these are very, very curved. So, you know, pros and cons to everything like this. I would say that if you're unsure of what size you'd be and if they'd work, only order one set at a time. It'd be really sad if you ordered a whole bunch and spent the money on it and then they didn't end up working out for you. So that's like kind of like an obvious thing, but it's so easy when you're on these websites that have so many pretty things and you think that it's going to work perfectly to just order a whole bunch in one go. I mean, that's what I did. I ordered a mystery box of 6, and maybe ordering a mystery box of 2 would have been good enough, but I wanted to try to get enough variety to try this out. So that's like, you know, for me and here on the channel, but for you as like a personal, you know, just person buying for yourself, an individual, I would say be vigilant, do your research, and probably don't buy 6 at once until you're, you know, 100% sure which size would for you. Sorry, I just stumbled over my words a little bit. And if you want to go either a size larger and then file the nail, or to stick with a smaller size, it all depends on how they work for your nails. But I think I'm going to give these a go. I'm going to see which way I want to stick them on my nails, whether with a rubber base coat or with this, because I was actually planning on testing this out, but if it doesn't end up working because these are too curved, then that might not give this the best review. Like, that's not fair to this peel off base coat if we're already starting off with a product that might not work great with it. That's not giving it a fair shot. So I'm going to just quickly do a little bit of research, and then I'll be right back to stick these on and see how the rest of this set goes. Okay, I'm back. I did a little bit of research, and this is basically how I decided I'm going to do this whole process. I'm going to use a rubber base gel, and the only one I have is from Madam Glam, and it does have a bit of a tinted color to it. Not that that's a bad thing or anything like that, just something to be aware of. And I'm going to use it to kind of create a little bit of a slightly more raised nail bed, so that the press-on will stick a little bit better, because my nails are a bit flat for these Vettsy nails. I'm going to use a primer to help the rubber base coat, and the primer I'm going to be using is Nail Order. Typically speaking, when you're trying to use a bunch of different products, mixing brands isn't always the best idea, but unfortunately this is all I got. I've only got one rubber base gel, and I really like this nail primer. The only other one I have is from some other brand, and it's essentially the same thing at this point. So going to be using a primer, rubber base gel, and then we're going to use the peel off base coat on top of that to stick on the press-ons. I'm hoping that'll work. If I decide that that's not working, or if I'm having an issue with it, then maybe I'll just use the rubber base gel to completely attach it. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll do one on each hand, and then we can kind of compare over the course of time how that works. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'll do a peel off base coat on my left hand, and then I'll just do the rubber base gel and use the rubber base as an adhesive as well, kind of like the Gel X system when you use a bit of gel to attach the nail tip, and do that on my right hand. And then we can kind of compare how that works. This might not be like the best situation, because these products don't necessarily all work well together. So we're definitely going to have to play around with it a little bit, but the first thing I'm going to do is prep up my nails. So I'm going to push back my cuticles a little bit. They don't look too bad, but I can use a little bit of cleaning up. And like I said in the beginning, I do have some nail hardener on it, so I'm just going to remove that with just regular nail polish remover, and then just prep the nails a little bit. I'm also going to prep the tips. So I'm going to use my e-file and just etch the inside of the tips, so that the peel off base coat or the rubber base, whichever one for both hands, just so that that sticks better. That tends to be like the best option, either chemically etching or using a physical etching, like a sanding band with an e-file, or filing it by hand, will always give your nails and your tips just a better adhesion, just better grip to the nail. So that's always a good option. So I'll start prepping up my nails and do this whole process. The rubber base is going to go on all of the nails, and then the peel off base coat will go on my left hand, and then we'll attach the nails with the rubber base on my right hand, and then hopefully we can see if there is a difference. and we'll see how this goes. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so I have the rubber base coat down, and I figured I'll wait to do my other hand to see if this is actually helping in any way before I go through the trouble of doing this and it not actually working. So we're going to start off with the peel off base coat. So this is an air dry base coat, doesn't need to be cured or anything like that. So this is great if you don't have like a UV or LED lamp at home. And I'm just going to apply it onto the nails like I would a base coat. And from what I understand with base coats, it'll just get sticky and tacky, and then you just kind of stick everything onto this. I guess. I'm not really sure. I don't know if it gets like sticky enough, or if you still need to do something else to adhere the press-ons to. This is my first time using a peel-off base coat, so I don't actually know, but from what I understand, that's how it should go. We'll give it a go, and we'll see how that works. Looks like I might have done just a bit too much in this nail here. Don't want to do too much when it comes to any product, really. It's better to work in small motions. Okay, so I'll give it like a minute or two to completely air dry, and then we'll see if they stick and if the rubber base coat that I did under actually helped with building up the nail a little bit. So we'll give that a go in a sec. Don't mind my super dry nails, my super dry hands. It's just, I don't know. I try to remember to do cuticle oil and moisturize, and I even use like hand scrubs and stuff to remove dead skin, and I don't know why my hands just insist on being super dry. Although probably now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably because I don't use any kind of like gloves or anything when I clean the house. Mostly because I'm just lazy. I probably should, but like if I'm using like chemicals and stuff to like clean the bathroom or the kitchen or washing dishes, I don't really use anything to cover my hands. So that could probably be it. You know, that's probably what causes my super dry fingers and nails. But whatever. Am I going to change and use gloves? No, because it bothers me and I don't like them. I feel like I can't touch anything. I can't feel anything. It makes my hands feel super bulky, and I feel like I just lose my grip and everything. And anyway, I'm just rambling because I'm waiting for this to dry a little bit. So I'm curious, should I give it a touch? Doesn't seem super sticky. I don't know if this is going to be enough to adhere the nail. Let's just do this for a sec. No, definitely not. I'm going to need to do something else. Yeah, okay, so I'm not sure what needs to happen here. Give me a sec. Maybe just a regular base coat? I do think that the rubber base coat did help with the height of the nail for sure. Like they're definitely fitting better. The question is if that extra height is going to make it more difficult for the nail to stick to or not. I wonder if maybe the peel off base coat is not the best thing, or maybe not even necessary, because maybe I can just use the rubber base to adhere this. So I think the rubber base did help definitely with the height of the nail so that it fits a little bit better. So if that's something that you're struggling with, maybe give that a go. But as you can see, although they look really, really pretty, like I'm excited to get these on, I need to figure out a better way to adhere these because this is not going to stick just like that. So, pardon me for a second while I go research peel-off base coats because clearly I don't know how they work. Like I said, it's my first time using it, and I really didn't think too much about it until just now when I realized I don't actually know how this works. So I will be right back, but I do think that the rubber base coat was definitely a good idea. So we will keep going with that. I'll be right back. Give me a second. Okay, I probably should have prepped a little bit better for this video, but here we are. So it turns out that you can't actually stick anything with a peel-off base coat like this. I've seen other peel-off base coats that are gels that you can apply press-ons with, but this is an air dry peel-off base coat and it doesn't work that way. You still need to apply it either with a glue or some sort of gel adhesive to stick on the nails. So because I am using the peel-off base coat to build up the nails a little bit so that they fit the nail better, I think that this is a little bit obsolete for this video and for this set. I don't think it'll work very well with the press-ons simply because I do need to use this build-up, and since I can just stick on these, ooh, I just threw those all over the place. Since I do need to stick these on with some sort of gel adhesive or stickers or something, but I'm not going to do that and I don't have any nail glue, I'm going to stick it on with this. And because I'm already using it to build up the nail, I'll just continue to use this throughout and see how that goes. So unfortunately, I am just dropping everything today. Maybe I'm moving a little too quickly. This is going to be a little bit obsolete for this video, so unfortunately that is not part of today's review, but we'll just continue using this one. So because I already applied the base coat, I'm going to remove that just so that it doesn't get in the way. And I feel like just like regular nail polish remover should be fine. So since it's like not a gel or anything, it's just an air dry, because I don't want it to like get in the way and just be a hindrance to the rubber base. I keep using these words like back and forth and I'm like forgetting what's what, but okay, so I'm just removing that. Looks like it's coming off because I'm getting like a nice matte surface. And so what I'm going to do to apply these nails is essentially kind of like how you would apply Gel X if you've ever done that, or if you've ever applied clear tips to your nails to do nail art. That's essentially what I'm going to do here as opposed to using nail glue. So I already built up these nails. For my other hand, I'll do it a little bit differently. I got a little fuzzy over there. And what I'm going to do is just apply another thin layer on the nails, a very, very thin layer because I already have product on here and I don't want to build the nail up too much. Put a tiny bit of the base coat on the inside of these nails here, attach it, and then stick it in the lamp. Now, when people usually do this, they have like a gooseneck lamp or something that's like easy to like stick your finger under to hold the nail in place. I don't have one of those. So I'm going to just have to use my big lamp and hopefully keep everything in place while it cures and hope that nothing shifts out of place. Like I said, maybe this wasn't the most well prepared for video, but unfortunately I just didn't realize how detailed I'd have to be. I didn't realize it would take this many steps. I thought I could just stick these on and go, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So we're going to take it slow and learn as we go. Okay, so I'm going to start with my index finger over here, and like I said, I'm going to apply a really, really thin layer of the rubber base on my nail here. We don't want to build up too much since I've already done that. I'll do it a little differently for my other hand, but just doing the process and learning it as I go. And then I'm going to apply a little bit inside the nail. And what I've seen is that you kind of add like a little extra dollop over here. I don't know how well this is going to work considering that the gel, like the press-ons are like opaque practically. And this peel-off base coat has a color to it. I don't know if that's going to affect anything. We're going to have to learn together. Ooh, I got a fuzzy in my nail. You know, those wipes say that they're lint-free, and then they still provide lint all over the place. Like, I still get lint everywhere, so are they really lint-free? I don't think so. So why are they calling themselves lint-free? I don't like that. Just realized I was missing a little bit of a spot over there on the side. You want to make sure that you're getting the whole bottom part of the nail filled with your adhesive gel so that, you know, it sticks everywhere. And let's see how this goes. And definitely getting a bit of spillage. So maybe that's not the best way to do it, or I'll just have to add a little bit less. Clean that up before it goes into the lamp. And I'm just going to pop that in the lamp. So like I said, I don't have one of those like gooseneck lamps, so I'm just going to place it in my big lamp. I have it off to the side. I don't have room to like bring it over here. And the extension cord doesn't reach, so I'm just going to have to pop it in under. But honestly, just like how I'm feeling right now, the issue isn't even the application. The issue is the curvature of these nails. I think they're like too curved for my nails. Like it feels like they're just going to pop right off. So we'll have to see how that goes. I'm going to pop this into the lamp and then I'll be right back. Okay, so good news and bad news. The good news is it definitely cured and stuck well to the nail. And it's like sticking pretty nicely. The bad news is it really looks like a press-on nail. I mean, first of all, I got too much product leaking out, and it looks a lot more magnified when it's on camera over here because like everything just looks so much larger when my hands are pretty far away. You can't really tell, or in person it's less hard to see. But as you can see, it's like it's not sitting flush with my nail, and I think that's due to two reasons. I think it's because the curved nail is really, really curved, like it's a very pinched C shape, and it just doesn't fit my nail well. And I think also this built-in extra layer of the rubber base, I think that is just adding too much height to it, to the point that like it's not even like sitting by the cuticle nicely. Do you see how it's like sitting upwards from the cuticle? It's not flush. And that can cause problems. I mean, aside from the fact that it doesn't look great, once it starts growing out, that can actually start causing problems with like water and bacteria getting trapped under the nail. That's one of the biggest things and causes for like when you get those greenies on your nails, is when you get water and bacteria stuck under oftentimes a press-on nail, which is actually the reason why I stopped doing press-on nails, because I couldn't find ones that fit my nails well enough. And oftentimes as it would grow out, they just wouldn't fit my nails anymore, and I'd get greenies and stuff under my nails. So that was something that like I had to learn. I think since it's like sticking really nicely and it feels pretty strong, it just has this like really odd like upward angle, and it looks like a press-on. I think that's due to like the extra layer of base gel, so of the rubber base. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna do, because I'm all about adapting here and learning new things, I think I'm going to remove the rubber base that I did, do the peel off base coat as the first layer so that everything is nice and smooth, and then adhere the nails with this in that same process that I did, doing a little bit on the nail and a little bit on the press-on, but without having this extra layer. I think that might just help. I don't know how well the nail will fit at that point because it's so curved and my nail is pretty flat in comparison. But I mean, this just looks super fake. So, I mean, obviously I would clean this area up a little bit with just a little bit of e-filing and stuff. But even still, you can see how it's not flush with the cuticle. And that's what gives a press-on nail a really fake look. I think like fitting wise, it fits okay. It might be just a little bit too small. That's the problem. It's like, I feel like for my index finger and my thumb, the nail is a little bit too small. And for the rest of my fingers, the nails are a little bit too big. So again, that's like a sizing issue. But I'm just kind of like talking through my thoughts as I'm going through this because I'm not really sure the best way to go about it. But I think this is the best way. I think I'm going to remove everything and start over. Okay, so I'm back and my nails are looking a little worse for wear. I don't know if you noticed while I was talking. I didn't notice until I was going to remove my nails, but the rubber base gel was starting to wrinkle on a couple of my nails, and it was extremely difficult to remove, more so than should have been necessary. I was using an e-file. It should have come off like in seconds, and it was stubborn. It was sticking really bad. I don't think that that rubber base gel necessarily played well with this primer. Because of the wrinkling, I don't think it stuck very well, but also at the same time it's also like sticking really aggressively, and it was more difficult than it should have been to remove. And typically you're not really supposed to mix gel systems. They work with how they're supposed to work, and they don't always play well together. So that's just something that I discovered now. These two do not play well together. That was a little bit difficult to remove and probably not the best combination. So getting back to the nails. So here's the thing. I have seen people on YouTube and other places applying press-on nails with gel. So I assume it works, but on the Vettsy website, when they're talking about application of their press-on nails, they suggest either using those like little sticky tabs that are like super temporary and don't really last very long. They're typically good for like a day or two and then they come right off, or using nail glue. They don't even suggest using gel as a adhesive medium, and that's likely because these are already painted and pre-done, and the light of the of the UV lamp can't really get through to cure the gel polish, which is what I assumed, but I had seen other people on YouTube applying other gel polishes and other press-on nails with gel polish, and it seemed to work, which is why I was curious to go in this direction, but it doesn't seem to be working. The problem is, oh, that's another thing I want to mention. When I was taking off this nail, this index finger that I put on, a lot of the rubber base under was not cured properly, which is super dangerous. You never want to have uncured gel on your nails. It could cause so many problems, allergies, contact dermatitis. So that was super bad, and it's a good thing I removed that and got that all off. So I don't know if it didn't cure properly because it's too thick. I don't know if it didn't cure properly because it didn't like the primer that was under it. I don't know if it didn't cure properly because the UV light couldn't penetrate fully through the nail. That's like most likely what happened. But I have seen other people do apply press-ons with gel. So I know that it works sometimes. Maybe it depends on how thin the nail is. I'm not really sure. But for me, going in with gel, with just regular nail glue and not gel, wouldn't work for me because it wouldn't sit nicely on my fingers because my fingers are too flat. My nails are too flat and these are too curved, and there's nothing there to connect to the nail. It wouldn't be strong enough. But I'm thinking if that's the only option other than the sticky tabs, which I do have, but I feel like those are super temporary. There's no way to really like test out the nails and see how well they last because the sticky tabs will just not last more than a couple days. So I don't even want to go that route. I feel like that's not really helpful in any way. So I'm going to try one more time with gel. And if that doesn't end up working, I might have to go to the store and go pick up some nail glue. Again, that's going to be a different issue with when it comes to the curvature of the nails. That's like a different problem. So we'll have to see how that works then. But I do want to give the gels one more shot. But again, also be aware that like now that I'm starting to do all of these like funky things with like doing gel and applying a peel-off base coat and doing the layers and removing it and e-filing and all those things, that completely negates the whole point of a pre-made press-on nail, that it's supposed to be super easy. So I'm going through this trouble primarily because the nails are so curved and don't fit my flat nail very well. So that's why I'm trying to figure out all these different ways to get it just stuck on my nail before we can even move on to anything else. So if you have super flat nails, I really don't think these nails are going to be for you unless you get your nail built up a little bit with builder gel or a hard gel. And even then, when I did that, it didn't have a really flush look with the cuticle, which kind of is the problem with press-ons looking so fake when they don't look flush against the nail. So by the time I'm going through all of this back and forth trying to make this work, it completely defies the whole purpose of an easy press-on nail. So if you have more curved nails, or if you find a set or a size or something that works well for you, if you have nail glue at home that works and you like it and it's easy enough to just pop it on and off, then I think these are really nice. I mean, as of yet, I haven't had a chance to wear them. I'm just looking at them. They're really pretty. But if you have to jump through burning hoops like I am right now just to get it stuck on your nail, my initial review would be it's not worth it. Try to find another brand that fits your nails better, because going through all of this hassle to make it work is not the point of a press-on nail. For the same price and for the same amount of time that I've put into this, I could have just built my own nails and done it from scratch myself. So that's kind of like an initial who I think this is good for if you've got really flat nails or if you can't find a size that works for you. I don't think this is the best option out there, but I do want to give it one more chance. I'm going to use actually the peel-off base coat. Since we're not using it with the rubber base, I'm going to just get rid of that. I'll use the peel-off base coat, and then I have this Vettsy base coat. It's kind of like a thicker builder gel base coat, and I'm going to try to get that to work. If it doesn't cure properly because this is already painted over, then I guess the only other option is to go with a nail glue, in which case I'll have to pop over to the store and pick this video up on a different day. Again, I mean, this video is supposed to be a review of the product, and hopefully me figuring out how this works as I go along isn't too annoying, / maybe hopefully it's helpful. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Like I said, my plan was to also take you along throughout, you know, a week or two of my life a little bit and just see how the nails work out in the wild. How does it hold up against, you know, washing dishes or doing stuff like that. So I'll see if that's still relevant by the time I even get these nails on. Right now, the day that I'm filming this, it is Thursday, May 29th. So sorry, just had to double check that. Yeah, so it's Thursday, May 29th. Most likely I'll have this video posted in a little bit if I figure out a way to make this work. So yeah, let's just try this one more time, but if it doesn't end up working, I'll have to pick this up a different day after I pick up some nail glue, in which case we'll have a different slew of problems, but that'll be a future me problem. So let's try this one last time. I am going to apply the peel off base coat and then stick it on with this thicker base gel. So I'm just going to apply it the base gel straight onto my nails. They have been pretty much like prepped at this point because I had to file them again to remove the peel off base gel. So I'm just going to scoot these out of the way. So with the rubber base gel, again, I keep getting the two of those confused, but we're doing the base coat, the peel off base coat. This is an air dry situation, so I'll just apply that nicely, and that'll just hopefully make the next layer of gel go on smoother. Yeah, so like when I've seen people do press on nails with gel, I always was wondering like, how does it cure under the lamp if it's already like pre-painted and it's opaque and the light can't get through? But I've seen a few videos of people doing it in the past and recently and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, it must work somehow. But I'm not sure how. I wonder if there's like a specific gel that works for a specific lamp or specific type of nails, maybe thinner nails or ones that aren't too opaque. I'm not really sure. So we'll give this one last chance. But like I said, we definitely do not want to be walking around and going through life with uncured gel. That is super dangerous. So if it doesn't end up working, then I'm going to have to figure out something else because I definitely don't want to cause potential future problems for myself. You know, nothing is worth that risk. So I'm just going to grab, hold on, just trying to grab a brush, but I didn't want to like turn my head to look because then I'd be out of range of the microphone. Where is my good brush that I like? There it is. Okay. Making a mess everywhere. Okay, so this is pretty much dry. So this is, like I said, it's like a thicker base gel. And I'm going to do what I did with the peel off, not the peel off, the rubber base gel, where I'll do a thin layer on my nail, a thin layer on the inside of the nail of the tip, and then the press on, and then I'll cure it, and we'll make sure that that cures fully, hopefully. So I'm just going to use a tiny little bit of this. We don't want to do too much because before I used too much and it ended up overflowing, which that is like one of those things that like, it takes practice to like really understand how much you need. Just give this a little bit of a thing over here, fill it in, and now press it down. So you see how it's like not sticking? So a big issue with that, like big factor of that, hold on, I just put way too much gel and it's like seeping through. A big cause for that is the fact that the nail is too curved. That's why I'm having a hard time sticking it and having it stay in place. And it doesn't really fit my natural nail very well either. It's like it's too stiff and it doesn't fit properly. Again, that's always been my issue with press-ons or even clear nail tips, which is why I started doing my own, like building nails with a form and everything, because they would just never fit my nails properly. And I have way too much product there. So like I pressed it down to fit, but that's like not what you're supposed to do with press-ons or with clear nail tips or anything like that. If you have to press it down really, really hard to have it fit into your cuticle, then that means it doesn't actually fit very well. Like, it's supposed to fit snugly without too much work. Like my dad always used to say whenever I was like building something or doing something, trying to plug something in, fix something, if it's not going easy, you're doing it wrong. So if you have to work too hard to get it to fit, you're not doing it right. Something's wrong. What's wrong here is that my nail is apparently too flat for this, but I'll give it a go. But like, I really have to like push it down for it to stay, and that just means it doesn't fit well. So unfortunately, it looks like these nails just might not be for me, but I'll give that a quick cure. And I'm going to give that I'm actually going to do a double cure. I'm going to cure it for 120 seconds. So I'll do 60 seconds twice to make sure that it's fully cured under as much as possible. Again, I'm not going to really know if it works until I take the nail out and see if there's any lifting or anything like that. But just from like my initial review and everything like that, my initial thoughts on how all of this is going. I mean, I said what I said already, you know, I don't have to reiterate it. They're really beautiful nails. They look like a lot of fun, but if you have flat nails, they might not be the best option for you. They might just not stick very well. And even if they fit on the initial application, even if you can get them to fit by pressing it down, or somehow you manage to jiggle it so that it works, as the nail grows out, it'll start lifting, it'll start popping, it won't be flush against the side walls and the cuticle anymore, and that's when we can have issues. So we'll see how this goes. I'm gonna give this another cure and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I gave this a full cure twice. So I did 120 seconds. As you can see, we have a few issues. The biggest one being that the gel leaked out of the sides and cured on my finger, which is something that we definitely don't want ever. So that's like a whoopsie slash not a great thing on my part. So I have to make sure to use a lot less gel. A big issue is why it kept squeezing out is because I had to like press down the nail to have it like just secure nicely, and then it oozed out the side. So for the rest of the nails, I have to be really careful to do a much thinner, less application. Doing too much gel is definitely not the way to go. But you can see it still has that up-curved look to it. Like, it's not, I guess it's hard to tell from camera because from an upward angle, it's hard to see. But as you can see here, when I have the nail like this, the nail is kind of curving upward a little bit. It's stuck on pretty good. So I think that maybe like the fact that it's like a little bit sheer, because like you can still see my natural nail under it. See right there, that's my natural nail. So I think maybe the fact that this this polish application, whatever, is a bit sheer, the light can still get through enough to cure it. So that's good. But it definitely still has that slight upward curve, as if like it's not completely flush with the nail, which is like an issue because my nail is flatter than the press-on. And obviously the cured gel over here, that's a big problem. So definitely try to avoid that as much as possible. I'm going to make sure to do less gel for future applications, but I think it's pretty stuck on there for now. Like, I'm giving it a decent push, and I guess we'll see how this lasts in the future, but you can see it's still not completely flush with the cuticle over there. See how there's like that tiny bit of gapping? I don't know the best way to fix that without actually ruining the nail and filing the nail down. So I think maybe I'll give the rest of these nails just a little bit of a file, because you can see how the nail is like the tiniest bit too big for my natural nail. I think I'll give these like a little bit of a file around the cuticle area and then apply the rest of the nails and apply a much, much thinner layer of the gel, because this oozing and getting on the finger like that, that's really bad. We don't want that. So yeah, I'll keep going, give these a little bit of a file up, and then apply the rest of them. And then I guess we can continue on with the rest of the video and see how long these nails last. So I just want to show what I'm doing. I already did these nails over here and these two, and I'm just finishing up. I am just smoothing out the edges. You can see they kind of have like a bit of a squared edge at the bottom of the nail. And I feel like that's kind of making it a bit difficult for them to fit on my nails. So I'm just kind of like smoothing these out and kind of creating a softer, rounder shape by the cuticle. And I'm hoping that this will just help fit along the nail a little bit better. I find that very often, like just factory made nails like this, like just press-ons or tips or something, even if they look a little rounded, they tend to have a bit of like a squarish edge. Do you see how like even though it looks rounded from like the front over here, when you look at it from the side, it's kind of got these like little squared spots on the underside a little bit. And I found that those would always, like that would be the biggest issue for not fitting my nails. Because aside from my thumb, which is a bit square, the rest of my nails are quite rounded, and square shaped cuticles on press-ons were just always something that like gave me a problem. So I'm kind of filing on the underside a little bit and just giving it a softer, rounder shape. And I'm hoping that a softer round shape will just help with the fitting a little bit better. So kind of just going under and under. So I'm kind of like jumping through burning hoops over here to make these nails work. If you have to go through this much effort, I mean, that's up to you, whether or not you think that's worth it. I don't know if it would necessarily be worth it to me, just because by the time I did all of this work, I could have just done my own nails, but maybe you don't want to do your own nails. Because even still, I guess it is fun to have like pre-made press-ons, even if you have to do a little bit more work. So again, you know, that's all of this is completely like personal preference or what you think is worth the hassle or not. If you don't want to go through the trouble of designing a nail or doing a nail or building a nail from scratch, then obviously don't. And also if these fit you better than they fit me, then that would also be a completely different factor. If you can just stick it on with nail glue, that would be so much easier than what I'm doing now. I didn't want to have to go through this whole gel process to make it stick. I was hoping that it would be a little bit easier. But such is the way of life. Not everything works for everyone, and that's okay. So I'm going to do the next nail. I'm going to also apply a lot less gel so that it doesn't leak out the sides. Even that might be a little bit too much. That's something that you kind of have to like learn on the go. But let's see if the shaping kind of fit a little bit better. Yeah, I think that fits a little bit better than the other one. But you can see it, like it actually looks a little bit big now. So before, when I was just shaping it out, it kind of looked like they'd be too small. But now looking at it, like it kind of really overhangs the side of my nail a decent amount. It's like just the slightest bit too big, so their sizing's a little bit funny. But this shape, this fitting is a lot better to my cuticle compared to this one. If you can see that, it fits a lot more flush. So it might just be a matter of like shaping up the cuticle area a little bit to fit your nail. And when it comes to like pre-made, factory-made press-ons, like it's never going to fit everyone's nail. So most of the time you do have to do a little bit of, touching it too much. Most of the time you do have to do a little bit of fussing with it to get it to fit. So let's just cure that before I keep playing with it and ruining it. But I think I got the gel amount better. That didn't like squeeze out or anything like that. So I'll give that a cure. And again, I'm going to do like 2 cures. I'm going to do it twice just because of the whole going through an opaque surface. Okay, after curing, it feels pretty secure. Okay, and the fit definitely is much better after I filed it down. So, you know, how much you need to fuss with it to make it fit and whether or not that's worth it to you is a completely personal choice. So I think I've, said enough of all this. I keep just repeating myself at this point. So I think I'm just going to finish up the rest of these nails, apply them all, and then we can just kind of move on to the next part of this video, I guess. So here they are all on, and I'm going to do some filing around my cuticle just to like clean up the cuticle area a little bit, clean up some of the spilled gel, and just make it look a little bit more flush. But I think it's interesting to note that like the pinkies do not fit well at all, as you can see there. This one I kind of did a little bit too much gel, but you can see where it's like lifted and doesn't sit flush with the cuticle. And same with the thumbs. This one actually fit relatively okay, but this one you can see doesn't sit nicely against the sidewall. But what's interesting is with these 3 nails, once I did the filing and shaped them up a little bit, they fit pretty nicely. However, on this nail over here, you can see where it's like not sitting flush against the sidewalls or the cuticle. So I think that the fact that you only get 10 options and you kind of have to size based on whichever nails will fit the most, like how many fits you'll get, is a little bit of a con. Because if I had at least like a few more options and I could pick like a pinky and a thumb that fit a little bit better, this might be a better option. But for these nails over here and these 2, they fit pretty okay. Again, I did have to do a little bit of filing to make it fit, but once I did that, that's fine. And I mean, I kind of expected to have to do a little bit of filing and fixing up with press-ons. That's kind of like a risk that you take. But if I would go a size up for a size medium to fit for like my pinkies and my thumbs, I think they would be a little bit too big. And they'd definitely be too big for the nails that actually fit nicely. So the sizing is a bit of a gamble. Of course, if you're unsure or if you're between sizes, always size up. That way you can at least file down to make it fit. But I don't know. It's like they're gorgeous, yes, and they feel sturdy and nice, and they look really pretty on the nail, on the hands, especially from far. It's like you can't really even see like any issues. Again, I'm going to clean up the cuticles a little bit, but I just wanted to give like a few initial thoughts, especially noticing that like the pinkies like really don't fit well. Yeah, I think you're taking a bit of a gamble when you're buying press-ons that only come with 10 options, because you really run the risk of not having all of them fit properly, and you know, then you don't really have much of a choice of either filing it up or walking around with nails that are a bit too small, and that's what gives it the cheap fake look, is when they don't fit properly. So I'm going to do a bit of a cleanup, and I think we'll talk about my final thoughts. So I'm just finishing off with a little bit of cuticle oil, and I know I said in the beginning that I was thinking of like maybe taking you around during, you know, my week or so, maybe a couple weeks, and just taking you around my life and seeing how these nails hold up. But honestly, I don't think I'm gonna do that. Mostly because I feel like this video is super long as it is, and I don't know how well a long video will be received, but also simply because these nails just do not fit me well, and I don't want to keep them on for too long because I just open myself up to risking bacterial infection where the nail is not sitting flush against my nail, primarily on my pinkies and my thumbs, where there is this little gap here by the cuticle and along the sides. Honestly, it's just a recipe for disaster. This is the main reason why I gave up press-ons and Gel X. I found that over time, as my nails would grow out in the next couple days, they would no longer sit flush against my cuticles and along the side walls, and then I would get lots of bacterial infections and those greenies, and that's not cute. So I guess I'll just finish off here. I mean, I feel like I pretty much said what I needed to say with this whole situation here. If these nails fit you well, I think they're really cute. If you only need to do a little bit of filing to make them work, and if you have a good nail glue that you like, they're cute. They're really cute. I think they are a good price. They're really cute. That's for sure. I think they're really, really cute, but are they cute enough to risk a bacterial infection? I don't think so. I think it's a real shame that the sizing is so imperfect, and you really risk getting a size or getting a few sizes that don't fit you when you are just ordering the single set with only 10 nails. So, of course, size up if you're unsure. That way, at least you have room for filing. But, I mean, unless you're, like, super sure, then I would say, you know, proceed with caution. I would say that if you're ordering a set, only order one to see how the sizing works, or maybe order two, one in each size, just so that you can be completely sure of your sizing. And if it's a situation where, like, you know, one of your nails, it doesn't fit properly and you're like willing to like deal with it, then that's fine. Of course, at the end of the day, it's all about your own personal perspective. If you don't mind if it looks a little bit cheap, if you don't mind if it's a little bit too big, if you don't mind doing the filing, if you don't mind if it's a bit too small, all of that is like a personal preference. So if that's something that you're okay with, I think price-wise, I think look-wise, they're really, really cute. But for me, unfortunately, I'm just not going to be leaving these on for more than a couple of days, because I know as soon as my nails start growing out, I open myself up to risk of, you know, infection. And as cute as these are, I don't want to risk that. That's not really something that I want to do. It's the whole reason why I moved away from press-ons and Gel X and that whole concept, so that I wouldn't get the greenies anymore. It's not cute when you take off your nails and they're all green under. So, yeah, I mean, I pretty much said what I need to say. I'm sorry that the idea of this, if you were looking forward to like seeing how they last over the course of a couple of weeks, didn't work out. I'm sorry if watching me struggle to figure out how to learn to put these on without nail glue, because honestly, that would have been the easiest option, except for the fact that they don't really fit my nails very well, so I would have had a struggle there. Sorry if following me through this learning curve was not what you were expecting, but hopefully I gave some sort of insight into these nails. I really think they're cute. I like them. For future reference, if I had a specific event that I wanted to wear one of these sets to, then maybe I'd pop them on for a day or two and just wear them and not mind if they don't fit perfectly. But this is not something I'll be leaving on for, you know, a week or 2 weeks or anything like that. They're probably going to come off in a couple of days, but at the end of the day, it's all about, you know, what you think and what you like and what you're willing to do to make your nails work for you. If you don't mind doing a bunch of filing and sticking it on with gel and all that kind of stuff, then go forth and be happy with your decision. I don't think you can go wrong with their designs. I don't think you can go wrong with their shapes. I think they feel really sturdy and they look really pretty. So at the end of the day, what you choose to do is completely up to you, of course. So I hope this video was helpful in some sort of way, either with just a basic review of the product, or with applying gel nails, or press-ons rather, when you are using gel as opposed to nail glue. It did seem to work pretty well, that clear gel. So I am curious to try to maybe see if that works well in the future with other press-ons. I don't know when I'll do press-ons again, simply because this was a fun experience and an interesting one, and I do love the final result, but it was a bit of a tedious process, and the fact that they don't fit perfectly kind of, you know, errs me on the side of maybe not wanting to do this again. But at the end of the day, you know, I think these were still fun, and I'll definitely enjoy wearing them for a couple of days. So let me know your experience with press-ons. Have you struggled with them in the past like I have? Do you live on press-ons? Are those the only things you do to your nails? I'm super curious because, you know, everyone's nails are different, so everyone experiences press-ons and these kinds of things differently. So leave all of your thoughts and opinions down in the comments, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!